Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen. The temperature is warming up outside, so I thought I'd start back into making some of the pop recipes. And one of the ones that I want to try is for a cherry pop. There are a couple that I really like. There's one from the Carolinas called Cheerwine. I think that one is great. There was one here from the Pop Shop that was a black cherry that was absolutely amazing when I was a little kid. Sometimes I think that the cherry pops are a little bit too one note. And so I'm trying to come up with something that gives a little bit more of a depth of flavor. Something that is not just one note. So I've started out in this bottle with some cherry bark. The cherry bark is going to give us cherry flavor, but it's also going to give us just a little bit of bitterness and complexity. To that, I'm going to add some glycerin. And glycerin is a very thick liquid, and it's going to help keep the cherry flavor on your tongue longer. And then to this, I'm also going to add some water. Put a lid on and give it a shake. And so I'm just going to leave this on the counter for 24 hours before we come back to do the next step. Okay, 24 hours have gone by and the liquid has taken on quite a bit of color. Nice dark, rich color. And it's got this, you can tell that it's cherry. There's definitely a cherry note in there, but it's got this sort of deep, rich, dark, it's difficult to describe. But I'm hoping that this is going to bring sort of something in the bottom to cut the sweet notes of the cherry. So I want to filter out the liquid from the bark. And one of the problems with making pop at home that I've found through all of my experiments is that you really need to filter it well, because anywhere that there's a tiny little particle floating in the liquid, it's called a nucleation site, and it helps to drive out the carbon dioxide so it doesn't stay carbonated as long. And I really want to kind of get around that by filtering it well. And you can see it's going to filter very slowly. And so here I have some hot water that I've just boiled. It's cooled down a little bit because I've measured it out, and I'm going to swirl it around, get the rest of the bark, and then pour it into the filter just to get the last of everything out of that bark. Okay, while that continues to filter out, I have a bag of dark, sweet, frozen cherries. They've been pitted. It was the easiest way for me to get berries at this time of the year. And so I'm going to put those into this blender. There's some really good cherry stuff in the bag. So I'm going to pour some water into the bag. I'm going to get as much cherry juice as I possibly can. And then I'm going to pour that water into the blender and put this on to liquefy. Okay, now I've got a fine mesh strainer, which isn't going to be fine enough, but I'm going to start there and get the biggest bits out, and then move to progressively finer and finer until I put it through a coffee filter. I want to get most of the big bits out, again, to stop nucleation sites. So, pour this through and see what happens. Most of it's going to go right through. So that is going to take a very long time to settle out. And in the interest of trying different things and experimentation, I've also got a juicer, and I've got another bag of cherries. So I'm going to put these frozen cherries through the juicer and see what happens there. The next step is to combine most of the ingredients. So here I have the liquid from the bark, and I'm going to put that into this pot. These two things are cherry juice. Now, in both cases, it took a very long time to filter them to get rid of most of the particulate matter. And I think I've done that, and that is a very important step. Now, they first went through a mesh strainer, then a mesh strainer with some cheesecloth, then this microfilter coffee filter, and then the microfilter coffee filter with this Chemex paper filter. And that filtered everything out. But it really cut down on the amount of juice that I got. Let's give each one a taste and see what happened. Okay, first up, this is the one from the blender, and it's already watered down. Pretty good cherry flavor. Yeah, pretty good cherry flavor. Now this one, not watered down. Thing is, even though this isn't watered down, eventually I am going to have to water it down in order to dissolve the sugar in it. So this probably isn't the greatest test, but let's just see. Yeah, obviously more concentrated. I'm not going to use this one right away. I'm going to use this one because it already has the water in it. So I'm going to put this into the pot, and we're going to turn this on to kind of a medium-low heat. Next in is the sugar, and this is cane sugar. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to argue with me on this. It is cane sugar. There's the bag. Here's the deal. Despite what you think you've learned from the internet and mommy bloggers and health food bloggers, white sugar can be cane sugar. And all of those soda pop manufacturers that put on their bottle that they use pure cane sugar, they're going to be using this ultra pure cane sugar because it's the only way in an industrial setting to get consistency of flavor. They're not going to be using a brown sugar or a sugar in the raw because those vary in flavor batch to batch. And because these companies thrive on consistency, this is the sugar that they would be using. In fact, they would get it as a liquid, probably already dissolved in water, so it would come as a syrup. So I don't want to bring this up to a boil. I just want to heat it enough that we can dissolve that sugar in and it's no longer gritty. Looks like the sugar is dissolved, so I'm going to put it into this jug so I can let it cool down. And I'm going to give it a taste, and this is where I want to adjust the flavor a little bit. Something that I've been avoiding using is cherry extract. My hope was that I could get enough cherry flavor from the cherries that I wouldn't have to resort to an extract. And there's nothing wrong with an extract. I mean, I could have started right from the top with this extract. It's all natural. It's just the essence of cherries taken out in an alcohol solution. But let's give it a try, see what's going on here. That's nice. Got the cherries. The glycerin that I used with the tree bark has given it a really nice consistency to hold the flavor in your mouth a little bit longer. The tree bark is adding a little bit of astringency to counteract with the sweetness and the sugar. And that's going to work with the acid that we're going to put in next. But I still think I'm going to put maybe half a tablespoon of this extract in, give it a stir, and then see what happens. Yeah, that takes it over the top. Now, this isn't too hot, but I want to cool it down before we move on to the next step. Now, as a test, I'm going to carbonate a little bit in an ISI whipper. And I'm going to use carbon dioxide, not nitrous oxide, which is what you would use for whipped cream. So, a small amount of the concentrate. And then some water. Next in is one of these two compounds. So, phosphoric acid is what's in most soda pops sold today in North America, Canada, and the United States. Now, phosphoric acid is pretty dangerous in this sort of high concentration. I got this from Kitchen Alchemy. I would only buy it from a company like Kitchen Alchemy that makes food-grade phosphoric acid. Don't go on Amazon and buy phosphoric acid from, some guy who uses it for cleaning swimming pools. The other option is something called acid phosphate. And acid phosphate is phosphoric acid that's sort of cut down a little bit, makes it less volatile. You can get it from this company called Extinct Chemical Company. And it is something that was used in the 1800s at the soda bars, where the soda jerks were in the pharmacies. Does essentially the same thing. It's easier to work with. There's less opportunity for you to hurt yourself. So I'm going to start with that. I'm still playing with this to figure it out. And we need about a teaspoon of it. So get about a teaspoon and put that in. Put on the lid. Take the CO2 canister and give it a charge. Now, I'm going to give it 2 charges. So take that canister out and do a second one. Then I'm going to put this in the fridge, and I'm going to let it chill completely. The colder you can get it, the more CO2 that will be absorbed into the liquid, and the better carbonation we'll get on the pop. Hey, Jules.
How's your multi-day beverage project going on?
So this is like day 4 of making this. So this is a cherry pop using acid phosphate as the acid.
Okay.
Now, the cherry color, of course, all cherry pops that you buy in the grocery store or the corner shop have food coloring in them. Red dye number whatever, 40 maybe. So the color isn't right until you put the red dye in it.
Smells cherry.
Needs more cherry.
It is light on the cherry.
It is light on the cherry. Okay. So
But it's nice cherry. It's just a little light.
the carbonation is good. I think the acid is almost right. So
Yeah, it doesn't have a... It's not super sharp. It's...
okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the cherry concentrate, and I'm going to make another one, and we'll be right back in a couple seconds.
This is where we go, ooh, time.
Time has passed.
Time has passed.
Okay, so I upped the amount of cherry essence, but I used the same acid.
Okay, so this is same, but...
It's just an increase in the cherry flavor.
Okay.
And I didn't add any food coloring to make it redder. So it's still this kind of pink rosé, and it is overcarbonated. I could probably get away with just one of the carbonator things. So
There are a lot of bubbles.
So no matter how carefully I'm going to pour this, it's going to be carbonated. There you go. Try that.
I see a shake on your pour there, Glenn.
Well,
You
'cause
okay?
I don't
You're
wanna-
looking nervous.
I don't want to pour it too quickly. Thank you.
It's not helping.
The commenters are savage. Okay. More cherry on the nose.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because it only has a little bit. Like
Okay, yeah.
it's definitely more cherry smell, but I don't know that it has a huge difference in the flavor. I mean, it's a little bit more.
It's going to take a lot more cherry concentrate. A lot more cherry concentrate. To
I think
get
it
there.
depends what you're looking for, though. Like, I really like this. I really like the last one. I like just the light flavor of fruit in it.
Yeah.
But it is
okay.
not the sickly sweet cherry pop soda, whatever you want to call it.
It's not. Yeah.
That was, well, you know, my childhood's.
The Pop Shop Black Cherry
Yeah.
is something
It
that
is not that super sweet version that I'm used to as a from
and
a
this
child.
this one Cheerwine. This is over the top super sweet cherry.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. But when you read the, you know, what's in here, it's carbonated water, sugar, caramel color, phosphoric acid, natural and artificial flavors, artificial cherry flavor, and red number 40 to make it
That's the color.
the color. Okay, so I still have more cherry juice from the other extraction process. I'm going to come back at this again. I figured out how to use the phosphoric acid without burning our mouths out.
Thank you.
So I'm going to
appreciate
try it with phosphoric acid. So I'm going to give this another go. I'm going to see if I can up the cherry, how much I need to up the cherry. But, you know, you are
I like
correct.
it.
It is kind of a refreshing
I really like it.
out on the back porch.
I drink it just like this.
If you're looking for this,
You
this
could
is
add
not
some gin?
this. Yeah, this is good. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.